Hi there, and thank you for clicking on this video. We're going to talk a little bit more about the First Descendant, because we're still a week into the game. Most players are still brand new, obviously. The hard grinders have gotten to the hardcore mode, which is the, you know, second map, if you will, where the enemy levels are, like, significantly higher. But one of the issues that's coming up, and it's starting to become pretty regular, is where you defeat the bosses. People are starting to use very heavily to where I've gone in, say, 6 different intercepts in a row, and there's always somebody there that's going to one or two shot the intercept target, especially on stuff below Pyro. It's going to be real popular to see, especially like the first boss, or the first intercept target. People are one and two shotting it. So one of the issues that this is going to come up with, and I don't know, obviously, because I don't work for the company, but in order to not spoil the experience, and I know this is sort of a hardline idea, it should probably be talked about. Maybe doing 2 separate categories of players, because one of the things that's going to happen, and I'm literally just going to go in and show you. One of the things that's going to happen is when you remember the first time you did this, if you played on opening, what happened? You might have struggled on each boss. Well, if we go to Void Intercepts, go to Gravewalker, Public Intercept, and watch this one be a normal one. But one of the things that's happening is people are spam opening to hard farm the Amorphous Materials. So what happens is you go into a mission, and if you're a new player, you'll notice a bunch of people. Of course, I disconnected. 20s, 30s, a 40 level character doing a level 10 mission. Normally, this isn't possible because by the time you get to here, you just don't have the levels yet. Unless you stopped what you were doing and you literally hard farmed like the defense node, right? So one of the issues is that this is going to be one, a free carry. Let's be honest. But two, since this isn't, if it's somebody random, this could be spoiling the DPS check. Like imagine somebody doing Pyro and going into, like, getting to Pyro, and it's only 5, right? Like I've gotten to Pyro, I haven't done Swamp Walker. I know I'm going to be good on Swamp Walker. Hangman is going to be the next challenge, and that's going to be because of mechanics. But Swamp Walker, I know I got. I've already got setups for that. But learning the mechanics required for a while is going to be an issue. Like right now, catch me if you, this person's probably gonna one-shot it or like burn it down real quick. Yeah, they've got a machine gun. But there's also people that are leeching. So this is what's happening. If you remember when the first time you played was, you actually had to try here. So for the time being, this is more of a PSA than like a rant. You will probably be better off in terms of overall enjoyment of the game if you do this stuff solo until the higher level players have stopped farming this crap. Obviously, it's going to be more secluded and easier to do if you once they come up with the clans or the guilds or whatever they decide to call them, whatever the equivalent is in whatever this world is. But the fact is that for a new player a week ago versus a new player now, it's not going to allow a new player to learn how to do this stuff. If they had something in place if they had something in place that would separate this groups, it would be a done deal. Where maybe you could have somebody like partner up and do it that way. I guess that'd be fine if they wanted to intentionally, leech that way or get a carry. But the fact is a new player in a pub squad won't have the ability to say no to this. So if you're trying to make sure you're learning the game, this is sort of a small little PSA. I'm going to make it short, at least especially compared to my last couple videos. You should probably do them on solo. It's naturally easier, but it's absolutely not having somebody else do it. This is one of the things where it's like you have people that are grinding super hard, trying to finish the game, basically, that are going back and they're trying to open relics, or relics, amorphous material, that they need for like characters and weapons and whatnot, and it's overlapping so much that every time today, and probably half the time yesterday, there has been somebody in the mission, or in the intercept, that has been massively more powerful. These things needed to be treated as warm-ups for for players, and it would probably be best if that person was powerful enough to kill it that fast. If you are a powerful player, I would honestly recommend, if you finish the normal maps and you're just trying to farm, you can't group amorphous material results together. It's not like Warframe. Just go to a private lobby and knock it out yourself. It's practically just as fast. Like, most of the time is going to be spent running toward the boss. Because if a new player can't opt out of this, they're not going to learn anything. Like, if they don't know they need to mod for the element that the boss is weak against, when they get to a boss and there's no carry, they're going to have a bad time, and they're just probably going to start rolling for a carry. I've already noticed that there's been an issue of people leaving as soon as they get downed. That's not super bad yet, but I've run into it a bunch. Probably 20, 30 intercepts. Somebody will go down and go, shit, I've got the wrong build on, and they'll just leave. Well, that screws over your teammates. Instead of trying to make it work and play safe, they'll just bounce. One of the things that also happens is, like, new players need to figure out that there's fall off on most weapons. So you'll see them trying to stand super far back, not realizing it destroys your damage. Like, these sorts of things, like, there is an investment of close is more damage. You can sit all the way in the back, but the intercept target's obviously going to walk toward you. But these sorts of things, like modding to resist the intercept target's damage type, modding to just basic stuff, modding to deal the damage that the intercept target is weak against, getting your firearm attack mod up, getting crit chance, crit damage, having the element, and having a weak spot multiplier with fire rate. If you can aim, weak spot's a good mod to take, if you can aim. So it's one of those things where it's like, maybe on like a machine gun with a shitload of recoil, maybe you don't need a weak point, because it's more about the bullet hose aspect. Take a magazine size. So, small little PSA, if you're a high level player or later in the map, not even, like, I'm not high level, and most people aren't, because the game's only a week load, or a week out, right? So the fact is that this is spoiling the game a little bit. So it's my thought on it. They need to learn, if they're new, because otherwise, if they keep getting carries through stuff, it's just going to hurt them later. So go into solo if you know how to do it. If you can 1-2 shot the boss, Like, you saw how long that took? Void Intercept, Gravewalker, Private Intercept. It takes you about the same amount of time. And it's mostly waiting on the loading screen and running to the boss, right? Yeah, the abilities of the Colossus will be weakened. So, it is what it is, dudes. You can't share the results of the amorphous material that you're cracking. There's no real point in joining unless you're intentionally trying to carry somebody. In which case, do it for friends if they want. Some people don't want it. But if you go in to pop, to crack these things, you're taking away somebody's option to be able to earnestly try. So, food for thought. Probably shouldn't do it. Obviously, some people appreciate it. Some people find it annoying. But if this becomes the habit, nobody's going to bother to learn how to do these until it gets to the areas, or it gets to the intercept target that nobody enjoys. And having somebody go up against, like, Pyromancer and not know how to deal with it is honestly kind of hilarious to be on their team. Seeing that, where it's like somebody's never modded to, like, resist the element that the intercept target deals with, but it's just causing them to get have like a real heavy conflict right there. And I don't know, it could like end up hurting the game somehow. But the fact is that we just need to sort of take care of people that are a little bit newer than us, even though it's only been a week. But the fact is the way power scaling goes in this, there's clearly an incredible level of scaling that goes into a weapon. Especially because I was able to kill the boss in like 5 seconds. I mean, granted, that's the weakest boss. That's not an issue, right? But somebody who's got level 100 gear could do that even faster, if not outright one-shot it. So, just food for thought. Be easy with the new bros. Not everybody wants to burn through the material and get to hard mode as fast as possible. But make sure when you're when you're cracking the materials, the amorphous materials, you're not taking away somebody's ability to say no, because it's public matchmaking, right? And I don't know if this game would put 2 different avenues, because as soon as somebody kills it once, I would say it's fair game. But you don't know who hasn't done the boss before, and if they get in and the boss is dead because somebody one-shot it, they're not going to know what the hell happened. I mean, they might be able to figure out, oh, that person does damage, but they're not going to be able to learn that stuff very easy unless somebody explains it to them. But anyway, rant over. Take it easy, guys. Have a blessed day. If you've gotten far into the game and you're cracking amorphous material on lower level intercepts, maybe just do it solo so you don't spoil the fun of being able to come up with a build and beat them with your own game knowledge from the new people. Anyway, take it easy, dudes.